Hey, what's going on? This is Justin here, and I am back with another sketchbook tour, taking a look at the rough stuff. It is a series of videos where I go over my sketches in my tiny sketchbook. And this one was recently completed last month. I believe it is July 17th, and I started it last year, May. So let's dive into it. With this first sketch here, we were on the plane going to see Adele for our wedding anniversary in Vegas. I thought it was a fun way to start the book. And then here we got a series of faces. Jay and Silent Bob from Clerks 3. We have Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem in the Dune movies. And then we have the wolf character from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. If you haven't seen it, The Last Wish is very good. A really good entry into the Shrek franchise. A lot of the times I'll keep these minimal and try to play around with hatching and varied line work, and I'll bring my pocket brush. Here we have, I believe May 20th is Danny Trejo's birthday. So I have a series of images here from his various roles. We have Heat, which is, I think, one of the first instances that I saw him. Desperado, of course, Machete, and then this is him with no facial hair from Con Air, which was very jarring to see Danny Trejo without a mustache. Asian films that I watched here, a lot of the times when I'm watching a movie at home, I'll have this sketchbook with me. I'll have a tiny sketchbook with me, and I'll try to doodle some of the images. And here we got Jackie Chan from Spiritual Kung Fu. We have Good Morning, which is a older film that I got from the Criterion sale. Got Sammo Hung's Eyes. I think this is from my Lucky Stars. And then Don Lee from those, the Roundup, I should say. Those movies are awesome. And then here we have some images from Marty's swim class. She took swimming last year. Here we have The Strangers. Rennie Harlin is doing a trilogy of these movies, and I think these were taken from the first movie. The first one was not that great. There's a lot of dumb decisions that the main characters made. But they're like really trying to like flesh out this backstory of these home invaders, which is why I think it's like a 3-parter. I'll stick with it, but it wasn't as good as the originals, so we'll see what happens. Inside Out 2, I love all the shapes here. Whenever I do sketches, I'll try to avoid doing pencil work, but you can see I did a little pencil here, kind of mapped out where I wanted to place these characters. Dev Patel as Monkey Man. That was a good movie. I try to, keep them pretty quick and loose, but, a lot of times they end up looking more polished than some of my, like a cardboard sketch. And it's just because I get lost in it. Sometimes I'll attempt and I won't like how it's looking and I'll just stop. So I was playing around with Toy Story stuff and it was just not clicking for me. So whenever I draw Woody too, I always add the puppeteer lines, like Howdy Doody. Dinosaur bones. I believe this was at a dinosaur museum that also had animatronic stuff in it. Just thought it'd be kind of fun to play with composition. That's what I do a lot of times, is I'll try to play with composition and texture and, see how things look on the page. This is Abigail, the vampire ballerina movie. That was fun. La Samurai, which is a really great French film. And yeah, occasionally I'll, throw in some marker if it seems necessary, because it's all about like ease of access. Like I could just, kind of clip a pen here and then take it with me, put it in my pocket and go. This is one of my favorite artists and YouTuber, Fran Menzies. I discovered her during COVID, and like she's a huge art inspiration on, how open and vulnerable and honest she is with her creative process and her life as a freelance artist and artist in general. She set some really big goals for herself, and it's cool to see over time her fulfilling them and like being very open with how hard it's been and etc. So this is Marty's first day of school. Sometimes I'll do these where I'll kind of wrap up a week with images and things that, were part of that week and do a little diary page. And that is something that I picked up from Fran. So trying to do a little more of that stuff. Sometimes it gets hard because I honestly feel like my life is really boring and not interesting. But I'm trying to be less negative about that because, you know, maybe that's a good thing. Let's see, we have here, I think these are just images of people at coffee shops. A lot of times we'll do work at coffee shops, and Steve Martin from Planes, Trains, more coffee shop stuff. I believe he went to like a wilderness thing and they had a possum and it was real gross. I think this is a nod to Ghost Coffee. Sometimes when I do people watch drawing, I try not to stare intently because that's freaking creepy. I try to use my peripherals as best as I could and try to like sort of look for a few seconds and grasp the line and curvatures of the face like from memory so that I'm not staring intently like it's a life drawing class. Wallace and Gromit, the newest movie, I forgot what it's called, but I think it has something to do with these trolls. It's a good movie. I love Wallace and Gromit. I think they recently put out a 4K collection of the complete series, so I need to pick that up. Life drawing. So there's at one point I started bringing this to my life drawing class I discovered last year, and I used it for all the quick gestures and stuff. Some of these pages were just like rapid fire, you know. And then here we have Stoic, and then this guy was reading a paper. They were not in the same room together. Just filling up the page. More gestures. At some point I was like, if I just brought this to the life drawing class, I would fill these up pretty fast. And so I kind of stopped doing that for a while because yes, it's about exploring and, you know, kind of finding things, but also having it on me and having it in the moment to take out my sketchbook and draw. And usually a lot of the times it's whenever I'm working out of the studio, it's a way to start the day for me. Marty got a hold of it and she was, you know, painting in here. She would paint on stuff and she would be okay with me drawing over it. Now that she's older, she doesn't want me to collaborate with her because, you know, it's her piece of art. And, you know, I respect that. There was for a while, and I still have a couple of them saved, but I have these Marty paintings that, you know, I've been doing those Marty and me drawings on. And this is my uncle's plant in San Diego. So I did take this with me to San Diego. I kind of like this stuff too. This was like testing out brushes. I always end up with these little Jackson Pollock type paintings. And they're just like cool to look at. And that's kind of how the Marty and me drawings sort of evolved from. And then lastly, July 17th is when I finished this. And when I was on vacation, there was a prompt on Instagram called Make a Terrible Comic Day. And so these two comics are inspired by my vacation to San Diego. And this one, this was a very common thing that happened. And that's it. That is the end of this tiny sketchbook. I got a Sound Growler sticker here. That show should be coming up soon, so hopefully I get into that. That'd be fun to do. That's it for this edition of Rough Stuff from May of 2024 all the way to July of 2025. I hope you enjoyed that tour, and we will see you on the next.